Yo, what's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about the Vikings possibly trading for Marshon Lattimore as he could be out on his way from New Orleans. Then also that man right there, Julio Jones. Does it make sense for the Minnesota Vikings to bring him in as the wide receiver 3? And then Alec Lewis had a very interesting report suggesting that Justin Jefferson may get $34 million per year. What's going on, guys? My name is Patrick Siepman, and let's dive into the Marshon Lattimore topic to start off today's show because, listen, the Vikings have a need for a true cornerback one on this roster. There's no doubt about it, and a guy like Marshon Lattimore would definitely fill that need. But if you take a look at the depth chart right now, like guys like Byron Murphy, I think fit more as a cornerback 2 on an elite, roster. And, I like Shaq Griffin. I like the addition of bringing in, Caleb Evans, Mekhi Blackman, the young guys, even drafting Kyrie Jackson. Like, I'm a big fan of his potential. But, I mean, if you look at this group, every name you see on here, Marshon Lattimore is better. And you may be asking yourself, well, why would the Saints want to move off him? Well, New Orleans is projected to be a league-high $73.7 million over the 2025 cap. And actually, just recently, the Saints have restructured Lattimore's deal to make it more trade-friendly and even more juice to it. The Saints just drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry in the second round. They actually traded up to go get the Bama cornerback. And there's no doubt about it. Marshon Lattimore is one of the best in the league. Just been the definition of consistent over his NFL career, has dealt with injuries over the past 2 seasons, hence why he only played 7 games in 2022 and 10 games in 2023. But, I mean, us Vikings fans, we know how good this player is. I mean, in terms of, cornerbacks that have matched up the best with Justin Jefferson over the past couple of seasons, Marshon Lattimore is at the top of that list, and he is that true lockdown CB1 archetype. He wants to play man-to-man. He wants to get in your face, and he doesn't want any safety help over the top, and I think he'd be a great scheme fit with Brian Flores. But taking a look at his contract, because in terms of trading for him, this obviously plays a huge impact. So in 2024, Lattimore is set to make $14.6 million, 25, 31.4, and in 2026, he has a cap hit of $28.6 million. So you are definitely going to be paying a hefty load to that cornerback position if you go get Lattimore. But in my opinion, I think this contract is worth it, but the Vikings are going to also have to give up draft capital on top of that. So Bleacher Report suggested this trade idea of Marshon Lattimore going to the Houston Texans, and they had his pick value at only a 2025 third-round pick. But with obviously the Vikings having limited draft capital next year with only 3 picks, 1 first and 2 fifths, I think if the Vikes want to trade for Lattimore, they got to look to 2026. So this is a trade idea I had. Do have the Vikings giving up a 2026 second-round pick for Marshon Lattimore. I just don't think the Saints would say yes to a 2026 third-round pick, so I think you're going to have to sweeten the deal just a little bit. But you guys let me know if you're a Vikings fan or maybe if you're a Saints fan watching today's show. Would you accept this trade? Give me an A for accept or a D for decline down in the comments section. Love to know what you guys have to say down below. Now, my take on this, I would love that Marshon Lattimore on the Vikings. Could you imagine this defense with Grenard, Dallas Turner, the safety position with how stacked it is over there? Then you also add Marshon Lattimore to the group. I would love it. But the Vikings have to be, just definitely concerned about just giving up future draft capital at this point. We saw the overwhelming haul they gave up to go move up to pick 17 and draft Dallas Turner. Did have to give up some extra draft capital to get J.J. McCarthy as well, and we were just thin in that area of our assets. So I would love Marshon Lattimore on the Vikings, but I probably want to give up a second-round pick in 2026. If you could somehow get it done for maybe both fifths next season, and you just roll in the next year's draft with only a first-round pick, maybe I could see it, but I don't know. Just where the Vikings stand right now with their limited draft capital, I would be very wary of trading for Marshon Lattimore. All right, let's talk about Julio Jones here. Could the Vikings be signing him to be their wide receiver 3 this upcoming season? I just don't know. But there are rumors being floated out there that Julio could be interested in heading to Minnesota. And Julio, listen, he's not the same guy as he once was back in Atlanta, where in my opinion, he had a stretch of about 4 to 5 years where he was the most dominant receiver in the National Football League. But he was with the Eagles last season for 11 games, only had 74 yards, did find the end zone 3 times, and 2022 when he was with the Titans, not really too productive there. He hasn't really had a productive season since that 2020 year where in 9 games he went over 770 yards, 15.1 yards per catch still, even at that age, and also 3 touchdowns. And we know this Vikings wide receiver room, like, it is a top-heavy room. You got one of the best duos in the league in Jefferson and Addison, but, Brandon Powell, I think he's a serviceable slot receiver at that wide receiver 3 spot, no doubt about it. I like Jalen Nailor. You guys know this. I want to see, what he can do and getting true wide receiver 3 reps for the consistency of a whole NFL season. But even a guy like Tristan Jackson, who's on the practice squad, N'Keal Harry, I like a lot of those options. And, I got 2 reasons why I would say no to bringing in Julio Jones. Number 1, and this is the most obvious reason, he's just not the same player he once was, even dating back to, that 2020 season where he was finishing up his career in Atlanta. So if I were the Vikings, if you really felt a true need at that wide receiver 3 spot where you were just like, we can't go into the season with Brandon Powell and Jalen Nailor splitting reps at that position, I say you go all in on a guy like Michael Thomas. Go get even a guy like Hunter Renfrow to really man that slot position. So Julio, this was back in Atlanta, back in 2018. I'd be giving up a future first for that man. But as it stands right now, where he's at in his NFL career, I'd probably pass on signing Julio Jones. But hey, you guys let me know. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think Julio still has some left in the tank. What would you guys do? Would you sign Julio Jones? Give me an S for sign or give me a P for pass down in the comments section. Coming up in just a second, we got a Justin Jefferson contract update coming in from Alec Lewis. He threw out there that Jefferson may get $34 million per year. We'll get to that here in a second. But first off, guys, the man who could be throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson, J.J. McCarthy. We have a great deal going on right now. If you guys head to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey, get your J.J. McCarthy jersey today. I already got one on the way. I can't wait for it to come in. And he's wearing number 9 as well, which I think is pretty freaking sweet. So if you guys want to get a McCarthy jersey of your own, head to chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. That link for you guys is in the comments and description of today's show. All right, let's finish off today's show with talking about Justin Jefferson and the contract update. We did get from Alec Lewis, who covers the Vikings for The Athletic, and this is actually coming in from the Purple Persuasion. One of the best Vikings Twitter accounts out there. If you guys don't follow him already, I really suggest you do so. He does a great job of just kind of accumulating a bunch of different Vikings news and rumors, and he tweets them out in just a great way. Great Twitter account if you guys haven't followed him already. But he said, per Alec Lewis, one agent who has negotiated top-of-the-market contracts said they think 34 a year is in the ballpark for Jefferson. Another agent who has negotiated multiple high-end receiver contracts said they believe 35 to 36 a year is in play if Jefferson signs a 5-year extension. So, listen, I think this comes down to, does Jefferson want to become the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, or does he want to become the highest paid wide receiver in the league? And I know that kind of figure of $36 million will sound like an overwhelming overpay for the wide receiver position in the NFL, but if you look at that contract, what it could be in, let's just say 3-4 years when he's on the last 3 years of that deal, I'm sure a $35 million receiver with how the NFL is going right now may not be that expensive or that expensive. And I could see that almost being, obviously it's not going to be a team-friendly deal, but I could see maybe the Vikings, getting Jefferson on a steal at $35 a year if the salary cap keeps on going up. And we've seen recent wide receiver deals go down. I mean, A.J. Brown getting 3 years, $96 million with the Philadelphia Eagles. And then in our very own division, the Lions signed up Amon-Ra St. Brown for 4 years, $120 million. I'm sure Jefferson saw this contract of 4 for $120, and him and his agent put that right down on the desk, and they said, this is where we start. We want more than that. So if I had to call it right now, let me actually see this. I would say Jefferson signs 5 for, I'll do 35. I bet you it's going to be a 5 for $175 million deal, which is going to seem like a lot. I mean, that is quarterback money going to the wide receiver position. But, in my opinion, he's the best non-quarterback in the NFL. He would be worth every penny. And, you think about, when the Vikings took Jefferson, since he was drafted, he has been just the definition of a perfect Minnesota Viking. On the field, we know what he's done. Highest yards per game in NFL history. He's dominated. But also off the field, he is that true leader and true captain in that locker room. And I think he's the true face of the franchise. Even if McCarthy turns out to be a franchise quarterback, and I think he very well might, I still think the face of the Minnesota Vikings is number 18, and that is Justin Jefferson. And I think he is so special at that wide receiver spot. What he's able to do, just absolutely dominate, the opposing team's defenses. Like, I wouldn't be wary about giving him 35, 36 million. I don't think it's going to turn him into, the typical wide receiver word diva, but I would be all in on giving Jefferson even $37 million. I want to lock him up. The cap's going to rise. People are going to freak out if you pay a receiver that much. But trust me, in a couple of years, we'll be looking back and being like, man, maybe that deal wasn't so bad after all. But hey, let's get in the comments. Let's show Justin Jefferson some love. Type his jersey number. Type those 18s down below in the comments. Show the best receiver in the National Football League your support. If you guys want more Vikings content in your life on Twitter, that's my Twitter handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow back. And thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Really love the support on the channel as of lately, and it's all credit to you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. See y'all next time. Skol Vikes.